Believe it, the B-1B Lancer is more powerful and aggressive than ever. You wanted to know the truth about this beast, and here it is. You might think stealth jets are the only threat, but this heavyweight has proven everyone wrong in Iran. It's the ultimate weapon of our time. But stick around while we uncover the dark truth behind its newfound power. Imagine you're in the middle of the desert, in the absolute silence of the early morning. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble. It's not an earthquake, it's a deep sound which you feel in your chest before you hear it in your ears. High above, 4 engines roar through the darkness as if they were the very fury of God descending from the sky. What you're seeing isn't an ordinary plane. It's the B-1B Lancer, the Bone, and it has just done something the world thought it was no longer capable of. For a long time, everyone looked at this plane as if it were a retired grandpa. It was born during the Cold War, designed to carry nuclear bombs and fly so low that radars couldn't even detect its presence. And it truly fulfilled its role for decades, being the strong arm of the Air Force, accumulating speed records and being the favorite of the soldiers down below, on the ground. Because they knew that if Bone was up high, the enemy wouldn't stand a chance. It became the backbone of American bombers, a metal giant with wings that move like those of a hunting bird for agility. We always heard that its time was running out, that it was old, tired of flying so much in the desert heat, and that it would soon be thrown into an aircraft scrapyard to make way for new, invisible models. But, while the whole world looked the other way, something secret happened in the Air Force workshops. They weren't just fixing the plane, they were changing its soul. In the dead of night in March 2026, Iran woke up to a nightmare that no one foresaw. The B-1B, the one they said was dead, appeared in the heart of the country in what was called Operation Epic Fury. It wasn't there to play around. It was there to destroy ballistic missile bases and command centers that Iran took 20 years to build. The risk was total. If one of these fell, the secret of American technology would be in the enemy's hands. Hey, before I tell you what happened when the bombs started falling, subscribe to the channel now. That way you'll make sure you don't miss the next incredible videos I'm preparing. What nobody tells you is that this mission wasn't just a common attack. It was a test of survival. Therefore, the conclusion we've reached is that the B-1B is no longer the old plane that needed escort and protection. It has become a tool of pure aggression. It crossed the ocean, refueled in the air several times, and proved that it can kick down the door of any country, no matter how well protected it is. But if you think its power ends there, just because it dropped a few guided bombs, you're very wrong. The real secret isn't what it did in Iran, but what the engineers installed on the outside of it. Something that transforms this bomber into a monster capable of wiping out an entire fleet of ships without even being seen on the horizon. And that's where the mystery gets even darker. Now, to help you understand the magnitude of what's happening, imagine the B-1B is like an American football player who, instead of retiring, decided to put on robotic armor and return to the field 10 times stronger. The secret I mentioned earlier has a strange name, but a devastating effect: external heavy-duty load supports. For many years, due to peace treaties and international rules, Bone could only carry weapons inside its belly. This limited what it could do. It was a giant with its hands tied behind its back. And the context here is that the Air Force was at a dead end. New aircraft like the B-21 Raider are still few and far between and very expensive. And the United States' enemies, like China and Russia, are building increasingly faster ships and missiles. The generals looked at the B-1B and realized it had hidden muscles in its structure that had never really been used. They discovered they could reopen attachment points on the outside of the aircraft that had been sealed for decades. But this is where things get tense and dangerous. Adding missiles to the outside of a supersonic aircraft is not like putting suitcases on the roof of a car. If the calculation is off by a millimeter, the air pressure at 1,000 kilometers per hour could simply tear the wing off the plane or cause the missile to hit its own tail upon launch. It was an immense technological risk, transforming an elegant bomber into a brute missile truck. If the test failed, the US would lose its main conventional strike weapon just when Operation Epic Fury demanded maximum force in the Middle East. The atmosphere inside the secret test bases was one of pure nervousness. Engineers spent sleepless nights running computer simulations to ensure the Lancer could withstand the extra weight. They weren't just looking to add more ordinary bombs. They wanted the holy grail of modern weapons, hypersonic missiles. We're talking about weapons that fly at 5 times the speed of sound. Therefore, the solution was to create a smart rail system that allows the B-1B to now carry up to 36 missiles at once. That's bizarre. It's more firepower than entire countries have in all their air forces combined. Imagine a single plane appearing on the horizon and firing 36 smart missiles that can sink a fleet of ships or knock out an entire power grid before the enemy even knows the attack has begun. In Operation Epic Fury, the B-1B proved that this new armor works. But what nobody has told you yet is that it wasn't alone. There's a hierarchy in the sky, a deadly dance between 3 different types of bombers. And when the B-1B works together with the invisible B-2 and the old B-52, the result isn't just a military victory. It's what analysts call industrial crushing. And the question that remains, and that is keeping world leaders awake at night, is, if the B-1B can now carry all this, what happens when it decides to attack what is hidden underground, where even conventional bombs cannot reach? When you see the B-1B Lancer tearing through the sky with those 36 missiles, it seems like the game is over, and the United States has won everything. But the truth is that modern warfare is like a chessboard, where the pieces never stop moving. In Operation Epic Fury, the world saw something terrifying. The B-1B wasn't alone. It was part of a larger plan, working as a team with the B-2 Spirit, that plane that looks like an invisible bat, and the B-52, the oldest aircraft of all. And the context of this union is what the military calls a continuous attack system. While the B-2 entered stealthily to disable the radars and open the door, the B-1B came right behind with its supersonic speed and its new, gigantic arsenal to grind up what was left of the resistance. This combination transformed the sky over Iran into an assembly line of destruction. The Lancer, with its new external hardpoints, could hit so many targets at once that enemy defense systems simply malfunctioned. They didn't have enough missiles to try and shoot down everything the B-1B threw at them. But, despite all that glitz and all that aggression, there's a dirty secret the generals don't like to admit out loud. Even if you turn a bomber into a missile-carrying monster, there's something no bomb can easily erase: intelligence and mobility. Iran, knowing this day would come, hid its most dangerous missiles in trucks that constantly change location, and in tunnels so deep they lie beneath mountains of solid rock. The risk here is what we call a hollow victory. You can bomb the country until it's rubble, but if you don't destroy what's hidden deep underground, the threat remains, waiting for the moment to retaliate. This created unbearable tension during the operation. The B-1B pilots knew that at any moment a hidden missile could be launched from a forest or a cave. Before I tell you what happened to the secret factories at the end of the operation, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next incredible videos. It's the only way you'll stay up to date on these revealed truths. American engineers knew they needed something more. It wasn't enough to just carry a lot of missiles. They needed weapons that wouldn't give the enemy time to escape. Therefore, the big takeaway from this story is that the B-1B Lancer became the testing ground for the most terrifying weapon of the decade, the ARRW hypersonic missiles. These missiles travel so fast that their impact on the ground is like that of a meteor. In the final phase of Epic Fury, the Lancer proved that with these new fangs, it can hit an underground target before the sound of the plane even gets close. The Bone went from being an old plane to becoming the most aggressive platform on the planet, capable of dictating who lives and who dies in a matter of seconds. The truth has been revealed. The United States isn't just keeping old planes in the air. They are creating a fleet of heavy ghosts that can wipe out the power of an entire country in a single night. The B-1B is now more powerful and dangerous than ever, and the message to the rest of the world is clear. If you hear the thunder of its engines, it's probably too late to hide.